No, what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury.
Yeah, so you can't say that he's not a Hall of Fame if he's beat world champions, you know.
And off. When it comes to being great, it's not about just becoming undisputed. It's how you become undisputed.
Terence Crawford has shrugged off Errol Spence Jr.'s recent call for a rematch, laughing it off while also casting doubt on Spence's Hall of Fame credentials. Crawford pointed out that unlike Spence, who's only competed in one weight class, he's achieved undisputed status across multiple divisions. You can't be in the Hall of Fame with just 147, Crawford said, downplaying Spence's legacy and accomplishments.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how? He fought in one division. He had a WBC,
He didn't fight about four. He wasn't undisputed. He wasn't undisputed.
He wasn't. No, what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But like, once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish my accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that, because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right.
Errol Spence Jr. has publicly called out Terence Crawford for a rematch, making it clear he's eager for another shot. The rematch is still a possibility, Spence said, expressing his determination to run it back despite his previous loss. Confident in his ability to make the necessary adjustments, Spence believes he can prove himself in a second showdown with Crawford.
Is there ever a possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence? Or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
The possibility is there. He's fighting for Ndor, for his title. I'm fighting for a title, and there's the possibility. He win his fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing, and there's a possibility right there.
Terence Crawford shut down Errol Spence Jr.'s hopes for a rematch with a blunt response on Twitter. Replying to Spence's call-out, Crawford tweeted, *Errol Spence Jr., sorry buddy. You gotta wait in line, sir. The message made it clear that Crawford is prioritizing other opponents for now, signaling that Spence will have to be patient if he wants another shot at redemption.
Same question, but I want your reaction. Is a Errol Spence rematch on the table still, or?
Nah.
All right, we're gonna wrap it.
I'm trying to tell you.
Terence Crawford's recent remarks about Errol Spence Jr. have sparked debate across the boxing world. Fans and analysts are split on whether it's appropriate for a fighter of Crawford's stature to speak dismissively about a fellow champion. While some view the comments as typical trash talk, part of the sport's psychological warfare, others argue it crosses a line and undermines the integrity of boxing. Boxing analyst Stephen Hops came to Spence's defense, calling it unfair to downplay his accomplishments. Hops highlighted Spence's battles against top-tier opponents, including a gritty win over Sean Porter, as proof of his elite status. His record speaks for itself, Hops said. He's not just a unified champion. He's a proven, highly skilled fighter who's consistently faced the best. According to Hops, dismissing Spence's achievements is not only inaccurate, but also disrespectful to what he's done in the sport.
I don't agree, because he beat some notable names. He beat Sean Porter, he beat Lamont Peterson, Danny Garcia. So you can't say that he's not a Hall of Fame if he's beat world champions, you know, and beat them like in a different way. So I don't agree with that aspect of this. I think he's a Hall of Fame. I feel like anybody who made it to that big stage and beat them big name champions in the Hall of Fame did something that nobody else done.
Like technically, he's a three-time champ because he won 3 belts.
Yeah. He was unified. Wasn't he unified?
Yeah, he was unified. It was just one. He was one away.
You can't say a person is not a Hall of Fame if he's unified. Once you unified, you made them history. I feel like once you become a world champion, you made them history books.
Yeah. Once you become a world champion, you made the history books, of course. But I think
unified is Hall of Fame.
You think so? Guaranteed?
Yeah, because you got all the belts.
Since defeating Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford has been widely celebrated for his exceptional skill and dominance inside the ring. However, his recent comments aimed at Spence have sparked a wave of disappointment among fans. Many believe that a fighter of Crawford's caliber should uphold a higher standard of respect, especially toward opponents like Spence, who has built a strong legacy in the sport. Boxing commentator Ray Jackson voiced his frustration on social media, posting, Terence Crawford said this back in January about us boxing fans. Now Crawford is the one being very disrespectful to Errol Spence. You can't make this up. His tweet captured the growing sentiment among fans who feel let down by Crawford's behavior. Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult also weighed in, acknowledging that while Crawford rightfully earned respect for his dominant win, his recent remarks have altered how many view him. Showbiz noted that fans were drawn to Crawford for his brilliance in the ring, but now some are beginning to reconsider their support due to what they perceive as disrespectful conduct outside of it.
I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't.
I think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame.
Right now? No, how?
Then, Bud, what you do? Because, Bud, Errol is your one, and you just shitted on him. I remember you dissing me on X because you want and deserve respect. And all of us are here to give it to you. But when you go shitting on another fantastic fighter who happens to be the marquee opponent on your resume, then brother, people gonna start flipping tables and they're gonna start looking at you. Bottom line, Errol Spence is great and you whipped his ass. Sean Porter is great and you whipped that ass. And what you're daring to do to take on Canelo Alvarez is beyond great. Now it's crazy. Good shit.
One of the biggest points of debate following Terence Crawford's recent comments has been the level of competition Errol Spence Jr. has faced compared to Crawford's own resume. Many argue that Spence has had a tougher path to the top, consistently squaring off against elite fighters throughout his career. His victories over the likes of Sean Porter, Kell Brook, and Danny Garcia are often cited as evidence of the high-caliber opposition he's taken on. According to several boxing analysts, becoming undisputed isn't just about unifying belts. It's about proving yourself against the very best in the division.
When I say that Terence Crawford, his accomplishments aren't great enough, you have people jumping in my comments talking about two-time undisputed and all this shit. When it comes to being great, it's not about just becoming undisputed. It's how you become undisputed, how you become champion, who you face. Because hell, Devin Haney fought Cambosis to become undisputed in one swoop. What? That makes him as great as Ali? Hell no. So if you say that Errol Spence isn't a Hall of Famer, bud, we start looking at jobs. Let's talk about Spence. He got the belts and unified. Well, who did he take the belts from and what did he try to do with you? Spence's road that you're shitting on is more violent than yours.
Terence Crawford recently addressed the rematch clause in his contract with Errol Spence Jr., confirming that a second fight is still on the table. However, he made it clear that he hasn't yet decided on the best course of action, with Crawford's dominant performance in their first bout still fresh in fans' minds. Many are curious to see whether Spence will get the opportunity to redeem himself. A rematch could serve as Spence's shot at redemption, a chance to show he can make the necessary adjustments and come back stronger. For now, the boxing world waits to see if this high-stakes sequel will materialize.
I haven't heard anything yet, and like I said before, it's in the contract, so it's not if I'm open to it or not. It's, what's in the contract, and Errol gave me an opportunity and a shot at becoming the first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in the 4-belt era, and I honor, that, and if he was to come to me or activate his rematch, then I honor.
Boxing legend Shane Mosley recently shared his thoughts on a potential rematch between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., expressing skepticism about Spence's chances. Mosley stated that, in his view, Crawford would win again. Regardless of how much Spence improves, I just think Crawford has his number, Mosley said. He suggested that Spence might be better off avoiding the rematch altogether and focusing on rebuilding his career.
Like, yeah, he's ready. Right when I seen that, I said Crawford wins. His movement, everything he wins. It doesn't matter if Spence was not strong or strong. He had more of the stuff to win that fight. And Crawford is a game player. He's gonna come. He coming to win. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I still say Crawford anyway, but I feel bad that we didn't see the true Spence fight Crawford. If that makes any sense. I just think that Crawford has more rhythm, more movement, more stuff, and not just having more movement, more stuff. He has the power and everything just to be one of those great fighters. He has everything. And if you have Spence is not one-dimensional, but in that fight, he was really one-dimensional, really stiff. And if they looked like they had really a lot of problems trying to get down to his weight, didn't have enough time to work on stuff they need to work on to, attack Crawford or to do anything to Crawford. And then when they got in the ring, he was so weak. Crawford dropping him with right jabs. We're like, dang, that bullet just dropping him.
Terence Crawford's trainer, Brian McIntyre, echoed Shane Mosley's sentiments, firmly predicting that a rematch with Errol Spence Jr. would end the same way. Bomac emphasized that Crawford's dominant performance in their first encounter was no fluke, but rather the result of meticulous preparation, superior skill, and ring IQ.
Has he exercised his immediate rematch clause?
I don't know if it's gonna be at 54 or 47, but I'm sure he probably gonna push the weight up. But there's gonna be no change in the decision. The performance still is gonna be the same. It might be even a little bit better. So he might want to watch out before he activate the rematch clause.
Despite his loss, Spence has made it clear that he's eager for a rematch with Crawford. He stated that if Crawford is willing to face Canelo Alvarez, then he should also be open to giving him another shot. Spence remains confident that, with the right adjustments, he can deliver a stronger performance.
It could happen. Why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm with it. So, I'll be going for Bud. If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So if he can do it, he started at 147. So if he's doing it, why can't Crawford do it?
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. has offered Crawford two potential paths. Either proceed with the rematch right away or take another fight before facing Spence again. Jones believes that opting for another fight first could be a smart move, as it would allow Crawford to maintain his momentum while keeping his options open.
Do the rematch and then go for other fights, or do you think this is kind of like the cherry on top, and after this he should more or less retire on top?
Bud has two options. A, he can continue going up in weight, see how far he can go. I think he said already 54 is his max, so he could campaign that going to 54, maybe doing a rematch, or like I said, let Errol get himself back together first when it makes more sense, then do a rematch. You understand me? So for me, to let Errol get himself together first, then do a rematch is much better. To fight him right now, it's not good because, like I said, just the weight gain was not the only problem.
Sports commentator Stephen A. Smith has also weighed in on the rematch debate, advising Crawford to wait at least a year before facing Spence again. Smith argued that an immediate rematch may not be in Crawford's best interest. He believes that giving some time for both fighters to regroup would lead to a more exciting and evenly matched contest.
A matter of fact, let me make a plea over the international digital airwaves of YouTube. Let me make a plea right now to Terence Crawford. I understand you just beat him. You beat him thoroughly. You're the undisputed welterweight champion of the world, the WBO, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF titles, but you hugged him after the fight for a reason. I am making a plea to Terence Crawford, even if you elect to give Errol Spence Jr. a rematch. Please do not do this for at least a year. Please don't do that. Y'all are cool with one another. I'm begging you, my brother. I'm begging you. Because I know you got love. And I'm begging Errol Spence Jr., as good as you are, you were just outclassed. I say that respectfully because I got mad respect for Errol Spence Jr. Please, please do not fight Errol Spence Jr.
Crawford's dominant victory over Spence earned him immense respect from the boxing world. As an undisputed champion, defeating Spence in such a decisive manner solidified Crawford's legacy. However, his recent comments have caused some to question his character. While his skills in the ring remain undeniable, many fans and analysts now view him in a different light due to his perceived lack of sportsmanship.
That's dope, man.
And I really appreciate you just being a regular dude who's very, 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 very skilled at something. I'm glad you're getting your flowers, and I hope the biggest of bags come your way in these next few years with how things play out for you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Because you earned
bro.
it. You earned it, bro.
And you gave us, listen, entertainment. You know what I mean? From beginning to end, it was a real display. So we appreciate you taking time, bro.
Hey, I appreciate y'all having me, man. I appreciate it.
Before we go, how soon will we get the rematch? Do you know that calendar? You know how that calendar is going to play out?
Probably, if it happened, it'd probably be the end of this year.
That's soon.
The next, yeah.
Like a December situation, probably, something like that?
Yeah.
There you
All
go.
right.
Terence Bud Crawford, the undisputed welterweight champion of the world.
Nice Howard Cosell there, bro.
Despite the controversy, excitement for a rematch remains high. Many fans believe that if Spence moves up in weight and adds muscle, he could perform better in a second fight. A potential rematch at 160 pounds could change the dynamics of the matchup, giving Spence the chance to be stronger and more competitive.
That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Bud be great, but what better buffer to see if Bud's ready at 68 than the EJ rematch of 54 and 60? And how exciting would it be to watch Errol Spence he walks at 190. I'm 185 pounds right now. I'm 5'11". To think of me cutting, and I train, to think of me cutting 50 pounds ever is fucking crazy. To think that Errol Spence Jr. walks at 190 and fights at 47 is crazy. To now think that a rematch could happen at 60, god damn, what are we talking about? Then you get to see EJ loading up on that double jab of his. You get to see muscled up a little bit. He'll be a bit more durable. Then we get to see Bud's magistry, Bud's footwork. There's so many storylines. So I'll end it with this. I've ranted a bit too far. For all you those out there saying nobody wants to see this too, it's a whitewash, it won't be competitive, you guys don't know boxing.
Promoter Bob Arum has suggested that Spence may have had physical issues that contributed to his loss against Crawford. Arum praised Crawford's dominance, stating that his performance was not surprising. He also predicted that even if a rematch took place at a higher weight class, the outcome would likely remain the same. Arum believes that Crawford's skill level is simply too high for Spence to overcome.
Which would lead Crawford to victory. And the clue that I saw was that of all the fights, I think I had 38 fights, of all those fights, he only fought 2 southpaws. So what is that telling you? It's telling you that he has trouble with southpaw, because to have only 2 out of 38 fights, it means that his people or himself have looked to avoid southpaws. Now, Terence's big strength is that he fights equally well from either side. So instead of opening up as a right-hander, which he usually does, and then switching to southpaw, he only fought Spence as a southpaw, and Spence couldn't handle it, particularly when Crawford, who's ambidextrous, and now his right hand is his jab, is throwing it with force and hurting Spence. So once I saw Terence come out as a southpaw, in my mind, I thought, hey, the fight's over.
Were you surprised, though, by how dominant he was?
No, because Spence can't fight a lefty, and nobody even mentioned that. He can't fight a southpaw. If Crawford had fought him 5 or 6 rounds as an orthodox fighter, it would have been a different fight.
You know, given just the performance that he had and now the attention that he's getting and the recognition, how do you feel? What emotions come to mind seeing that, hey, he's finally getting his just due when so many years a lot of people try to dismiss him?
Well, I don't know if anybody dismissed him because of his ability. They dismissed him because of his drawing power or what have you. Terence was I consider Terence a great fighter before the Spence fight, and I consider him a great fighter after the fight. You know, and his dominance didn't surprise me. He is the full boat. Now, what will eventually catch up with him catches up with all of them, and that's father time. He is 35, going on 36. So at a particular point in time, not now, but down the road.
Former champion Shawn Porter, who has fought Spence in the past, believes that Spence has the ability to win a rematch. Porter has seen firsthand what Spence is capable of and feels that with the right adjustments, he can come back stronger. While many are counting Spence out, Porter remains confident that he still has what it takes to defeat Crawford.
Right around round 7, and I basically was saying, I know his camp and I know him. A lot of pride, a lot of heart, but you have to understand that you're not going to win this fight. If there was an adjustment you were able to find, you would have found it sooner. You're battered up, and let's leave this night where it is and move forward and become stronger from this night. And I just thought that if it had continued, that it might take away some of the things he may be able to do in and out of the ring, because as the saying goes, you never leave the ring the same way you went in, and it truly is the case, unless of course you are Terence "Bud" Crawford, who had amazing defense and an amazing offensive showing on fight night, and you don't get hit.
Yeah, now you know this firsthand because you fought both of these guys before. Your dad was your coach, so you had a strong relationship there. Now, if you were coaching Spence, would you have thrown in the towel for him? When would you have done that?
I do believe that I heard he asked Errol one time if he wanted to continue, and so I do know that at a small capacity, at the least, they contemplated throwing in the towel. And I think that Derrick James is smart enough to know, hey, something has to happen. I just think that they didn't want to go, for the sake of words, go out like that. And no one does, but realism has to play a major role, especially in the sport of boxing, because realism means if I haven't won more than 6 rounds at this point, I can't even get a draw. And then he had been knocked down already. You have to look at the realism, man. You're not going to win this fight unless you get a knockout. You haven't landed one clean shot or numerous clean shots the entire night. Is that punch going to land? And when you look at realism, it says, let go of the pride, stop this fight, live the fight another day.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned, and until next time,